I am Dr. Sudhakar Reddy Tirupthi, with 30 years of experience in modern medicine, specializing in pediatrics. But my expertise doesn't end there. I also have 15 years of experience in homeopathy, which I regard as spiritual medicine, along with some experience in Kundalini yoga and acupuncture. This diversity enriches my skill set, yet I prefer to be known as a holistic practitioner rather than a specialist. My approach to health and wellness is comprehensive, focusing on treating the whole person, not just the symptoms. This philosophy is the cornerstone of my YouTube channel, Try and Curable. Here, you'll find unique and insightful content on health topics that transcend conventional approaches, offering a treasure trove of valuable information that can significantly impact your life. If you're ready to embrace a holistic perspective on health, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel and share it with others. Together, we can spread the word and help people discover a new path to well-being. Thank you for your time and interest in my holistic health perspective. I truly appreciate it.
Now, the largest vaccine study to date, it has identified some risks which are associated with them. And our next report brings you all the details. Take a look.
New Zealand's Global Vaccine Data Network analysed data from 99 million people who received COVID-19 vaccines across 8 countries. Their findings show the vaccines are responsible for a slight increase in neurological, blood and heart-related disorders. The research says 3 doses of Pfizer, BioNTech and Moderna's mRNA vaccines could trigger myocarditis, a rare condition of heart inflammation. A 3rd dose of AstraZeneca vaccine increased the risk of another heart condition, pericarditis, 6.9-fold. The 1st and 4th dose of Moderna increased the risk 1.7-fold and 2.6-fold respectively. Those who took the AstraZeneca shots had a greater risk of developing a rare neurological disorder, Guillain-Barré syndrome. They also had a 3.2 times increased risk of getting blood clots. The Moderna vaccine increased the risk 3.8 times of the neurological disorder, acute disseminated encephalomyelitis. For AstraZeneca's vaccine users, there was a 2.2-fold increased risk of the disorder.
The article titled COVID-19 Vaccines and Adverse Events of Special Interest in 99 Million Vaccinated People was published in Science Direct on February 12, 2024. It encompasses a study conducted across various countries, including Argentina, Australia, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, New Zealand, and Scotland, while India was not included. The study period extended from December 2020 to August 2023. A significant observation emerged after the identification of thrombosis with thrombocytopenia as a safety concern, which led to the suspension of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in Denmark and Norway on March 11, 2021. Notably, the same vaccine is produced by the Serum Institute of India under the name Covishield.
Greater than 1.5. LBCI stands for the lower bound of the confidence interval, which is a measure of statistical significance. An LBCI greater than 1.5 indicates a statistically significant safety signal, which is highlighted in red. An LBCI greater than 1 but less than 1.5 is also considered statistically significant and is indicated in yellow. An LBCI less than 1 signifies that the result is statistically not significant and is indicated in green. Neurological conditions observed following vaccination include Guillain-Barré syndrome, transverse myelitis, which means inflammation of the spinal cord, Bell's palsy, acute disseminated encephalomyelitis, and febrile and general seizures. Of these, the more significant were Guillain-Barré syndrome and acute disseminated encephalomyelitis, indicating inflammation of the brain and spinal cord.
Hematological complications observed were cerebral venous sinus thrombosis, which is more predominant, thrombocytopenia, idiopathic thrombocytopenia, pulmonary embolism, and splanchnic vein thrombosis. Cardiovascular complications observed were myocarditis and pericarditis.
This study reports solely on rare and serious incidents, overlooking the more frequent yet less severe cases, thus revealing only the tip of the iceberg. When it comes to vaccine versus COVID headlines, there's a tendency to minimize the reality, a trend pervasive in both our society and healthcare system, where the focus is predominantly on uncommon occurrences. According to the CDC, 6% of Americans have experienced long COVID. Meanwhile, millions are vocally expressing that post-vaccination, they've encountered not just the minor symptoms discussed in this article, but significant impairments to their daily activities. These include symptoms such as weakness, diminished energy, increased fatigue, chest heaviness, persistent headaches, brain fog, neuropathy, new onset of cardiac arrhythmias, structural heart damage, and autoimmune diseases. The question arises, why is the discourse centered around exceedingly rare side effects when common adverse reactions are prevalent? Notably, a higher incidence of long COVID has been observed among the vaccinated in some studies compared to the unvaccinated, or it is a mixed bag, underscoring a need to shift the conversation towards these more common side effects. Listen to this video to engage more critically with the discourse on vaccine safety and public health.
Good news is, the vaccine study to date was just released. 99 million people from around the world. It found that there is an extremely rare but increased risk for certain neurological, heart, blood, and brain disorders after taking the vaccine. But how rare is okay? And how much more is it now identified in people than before the vaccine? And also, what about all the long COVID symptoms that people are presenting? Why didn't they ask the 99 million about that? Those are all really good questions, right? You know how I know? They're not mine. They come from my doctor, double board certified physician, long COVID clinical specialist at Terrain Health, Dr. Robin Rose. So you called me about this and said, boy, the headline makes it sound like you got nothing to worry about. The opposite is true. Why?
So the background of the study is that they looked at, like you said, these 99 million people across 10 sites, 8 countries, and they identified these very significant problems that were neurologic, cardiac or hematologic issues. But these are problems that with any therapeutic or vaccine that is coming out, you wouldn't want to see these issues, right? Or you wouldn't expect to see these issues. And if you did, you'd want to see them at a low rate. And there were a handful that were flagged, as safety signals that were 2 to 3 times higher, when they looked at, they had the expected versus what the observed outcomes would be. And they were 2 to 3 times higher anyway.
So wait, what does that mean? What does expected versus observed mean?
So when you're rolling out, a therapeutic, a treatment, a vaccine, you expect maybe you'll have some side effects, mild, moderate, or severe side effects. So when they saw, when they were looking at the data, they knew that some of the side effects, that these serious side effects, the outcomes that were observed by the data collected by these 99 million people were higher than what they had expected. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah, and you told me that as an analogy, you were like, if we were talking about like cancers or things like that, people would not be happy about what they're seeing in this study. How so?
So this is what I mean. So when the headlines come out about vaccine, right, versus COVID, the vaccine, it's downplayed in a lot of ways, or the headlines downplay what's happening. Okay. And the issue is that in our society and in healthcare in general, we always do care about the few or the rare things that happen, right? So, we colon cancer screen everyone that's 45 years and older, in the hundreds of thousands or millions of people that need to get screened, because we're worried about the 32 out of every 100,000 people that get it per year, right? Same thing with women and cervical cancer, 7.7 females out of every 100,000 per year get cervical cancer. These are rarer, fewer events that occur, but we care about them. We don't downplay them, and we screen these people and we try to prevent it from happening. That was my point.
And here we're saying it's an acceptable loss. And you made another good point to me, which is, why didn't they, if they had this big cohort to work with, why didn't they ask them about a lot of other things that clinicians like you are seeing and see how prevalent they are? Well, what do you think the answer to your own question is?
Right. So exactly, there's tens of millions of people out there that are screaming from the rooftop saying that after they had the vaccine, they have suffered just basic symptoms, or not that basic, but not as severe as this, but symptoms that have impaired their activities of daily living. They can't live the way they used to live on a daily basis. And those are things including, chest heaviness, persistent headaches every day, brain fog, post-exertional malaise, neuropathy, weakness, new onset cardiac arrhythmias, structural heart damage, autoimmune conditions, all these different things. I can name 100 other things probably. Why are we not looking at those things? The things that we are looking at in this study particularly are things that are super rare and very, very serious and life-threatening.
Last thing. My producer just got in my ear, Ben, and said, hey, the studies suggest that if you were vaccinated, you're less likely to get long COVID. Is that true in your experience?
In our personal experience, what we're seeing is that's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. We need a lot more data on that, but it seems that many patients that had long COVID that got vaccinated actually got worse instead of better, in my experience and in a lot of my colleagues' experience that are taking care of these patients across the country. So I think that really has to be looked at a little closer. And Chris, there was a study too that just came out about pregnant women last week. And when you look at that study, over 51% of the women that were pregnant that went on to have long COVID were vaccinated, and 49%. So there, it was a little bit more, hedged more towards those patients were vaccinated and went on to long COVID versus not. So
Understanding the side effects of COVID-19 vaccinations is crucial, especially when they cause discomfort. Today, we're exploring safe, effective treatments for these symptoms, even weeks or months after your shot. Remember, these solutions aim to ease your concerns, not amplify them. It's crucial to recognize that some individuals may experience side effects. It's natural to have concerns about these effects, but it's also important to focus on the solutions available rather than the problems alone. There are powerful medicines and treatments in development capable of addressing and potentially nullifying the adverse effects of vaccination. These promising treatments offer a glimmer of hope to those who have experienced side effects. In my practice, we've seen firsthand the positive impact these treatments can have on individuals' lives, offering tangible examples of recovery and hope. These stories of healing and resilience are a testament to the effectiveness of these treatments and underscore the importance of staying informed and open to medical advancements. Stay tuned for the second part of our video series, where we will delve deeper into the specifics of these medicines, offering insight and information on how they can be a game changer for those affected by vaccination side effects. Subscribing to our channel ensures you won't miss this vital information. Together, let's navigate the complexities of COVID-19 with knowledge, understanding, and hope.